with identical records walking into the Lumpkin Center on a Saturday afternoon inside the Peach Belt Conference, both looking to pick up a big win and advance up the Peach Belt Conference standings. Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Lumpkin Center on the campus of Columbus State University. Stephen Williams here with you on Cougar Sports TV as we get set for Columbus State University Lady Cougar basketball on this Saturday afternoon. The Pirates of Armstrong Atlantic State University, the ones in town in Columbus on this Saturday as they get set for a doubleheader inside the Peach Belt Conference. The Lady Cougars 9-4, 4-3 in Peach Belt Conference play, coming off a loss, a tough-fought loss on Wednesday night at Young Harris, dropping that game 68-63 at the hands of the Mountain Lions, trying to get back on the winning track against an Armstrong team that is also 9-4 and 4-3 in Peach Belt Conference play. And they are riding a 3-game winning streak as they've knocked off Lander, Georgia Regents, and Francis Marion in succession here over the last 10 days. The Lady Cougars will be looking to get back on the winning side of things. They're 4-3 inside the Peach Belt in a 3-way tie for third place right now in the Peach Belt Conference as they get set to go up against Armstrong. The Pirates coming in here out of Savannah, Georgia. They sit atop the Peach Belt Conference Eastern Division coming into play today, so they'll try to continue their winning ways with new head coach Fala Bullock at the helm there. And Armstrong, a former assistant coach here in Columbus with Jonathan Norton in his first years here at Columbus State, 2009, 2010, 2010, 2011. She was on the sideline patrolling things with Jonathan Norton and his crew in the first stages of his Columbus State career. The Lady Cougars, though, trying to get back on the winning track. The last time they were at home, they picked up a sweep of Francis Marion and UNC Pembroke. Last weekend, they had a 2-game conference series. Francis Marion on Friday picking up a 68-51 dominant victory over Francis Marion, a team that Armstrong beat at the buzzer back on Thursday night. And then on Sunday, it was another dominant performance from the Lady Cougars, winning 78-55 over UNC Pembroke. They have won their last 2 at home and won the only 2 games they've played in 2014 on their home floor. Armstrong comes in, winners of their last 3, 74-72 the final score for them on Thursday night when they took on Francis Marion. It was a back-and-forth ball game in which the two sides played it close to the vest for most of it. It was 72-71 going down the stretch in that one. And right at the end, Armstrong had possession with under 2 seconds to go. And it was Tyler Carlson, the senior guard out of Richmond Hill, Georgia, who buried a 3 from about 5 feet or so beyond the arc from straight on, banked it in as she was falling away from the basket as the horn sounded to give Armstrong the big victory, not only giving them a victory in conference play, but that was a Francis Marion team that was on top of the Eastern Division, and with the victory, the Pirates moved into a tie atop that spot. So it was a big-time win for this team that's riding a lot of momentum and coming in here with a lot of experience across the board for Fala Bullock in her first year. She inherited a lot of experience and also brought a couple of players with her from Central Georgia Technical College, where she started the women's basketball program following her 2-year stint as the assistant coach here in Columbus. Brought a couple of players with her, and mixed all of that together has turned into a pretty good group of Pirates there in Savannah, Georgia. They did suffer a season-ending injury before the season started, and that hurt because it was their leading scorer in Tori Klowicki McNutt, but they've managed to do well without her so far. A couple other players that have stepped up and played big roles. Tyler Carlson doubling her season average from a year ago, and also Brianna Davis, who stepped up as a senior, upped her average up to over 14 points per game and has moved into the second leading spot in the scoring tallies for this Armstrong team. So these two have stepped up and are leading the way. And then it's a handful of other players that are tossing in points here and there. Brigitte Barta, a freshman out of Hungary who has come in, a member of their under-16 national team over in Europe, has come in as a freshman and averaging nearly 10 points per game. Maury Wells, a senior out of Rome, Georgia, who missed the first part of last season with an injury, came back and had her lowest numbers of her career, was a double-double machine for the first 2 years in this program, and her numbers are at the lowest point they've been at at any time during her 4-year career, but you know what she's capable of, and they're hoping that she gets back to the numbers that she was putting up as a freshman and sophomore. This is someone that's led the Peach Belt Conference in rebounding on 2 separate seasons. And also the other season, she ranked 3rd. So she's been one of the tops in all the PBC at any point at pulling in rebounds. For CSU, it's the senior starters that get things going for this Lady Cougar bunch. Aisha Alexander, who they did a nice feature on in the newspaper today here at the Ledger-Inquirer in Columbus. David Mitchell putting a nice write-up on her. The senior averaging nearly 13 points a game. Filled up the stat sheet on Wednesday night in the loss to Young Harris. A little bit of everything, 9 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, to go along with Shatil Bradford, who has made such an improvement this season and over the course of her 4-year career has made such a huge improvement. Has jumped up to 16 points a game, has been the PBC Player of the Week, ranks in the top 10 in points per game and also in rebounds per game for the year so far. And then Tay Smith, who's made marked improvement this year as well. 11.7 points per game for her as well. We talked with head coach Jonathan Norton prior to tip-off tonight. Let's listen to what the head boss had to say. Lady Cougar head coach Jonathan Norton with us as we get set to kick off this Saturday doubleheader with Armstrong. Coach, Wednesday night you go to Young Harris, a tough place to play and a pretty good team that they have up there. Take us through how that one unfolded.
Well, first of all, I thought we were good friends and we weren't going to bring up the past. But now that you did, Stephen, tough road trip, long road trip through the mountains, and played a good Young Harris team who's now, I think, 10-3, 5-1 in the league. And they've got a dominant post player who we held to 18-8 in only 20 minutes because she was in foul trouble, thank goodness. And they had a really good point guard, Lauren Smith. And they played us a bunch of zone, and we tried to force things, and we didn't play real well offensively. We turned the ball over way too much. Still had a chance to win. We led or it was tied most of the way, and tied with a minute to go, and we don't rotate correctly in our zone defense and give up a 3 at the shot clock buzzer, and then we couldn't convert on the other end to stay in it. So lose a close one on the road against a good team and didn't play real well. So get back late, about 3 in the morning, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, and didn't do much but watch film on Thursday, and then trying to get ready for Armstrong and Flagler this weekend.
Season high for you in turnovers. What was it that they did that made it difficult to execute offensively?
They just pack it in. They do have size, and so they're real active on the backside of their zone. But I just thought we tried to speed them up, but in doing so, as John Wooden said, there's a difference in playing fast and playing in a hurry, and we played in a hurry. And we tried to force feed the thing into the paint, and they would get a hand on it, or we would try to throw ahead, and we would just drop it or dribble it off our foot. So I think it was a combination of us trying to be in too big a hurry and then their size and length inside.
You look at it this year, you've had 3 previous losses before that one and yet to lose 2 in a row. What is it about this team that makes them bounce back?
Well, I mean, we preach that. Don't lose 2 in a row. We say don't give them 2 buckets in a row. Just have that toughness mentality. And we got some senior leadership, with Shaw and Aisha and Tay. And I think they believe in that and showing some toughness. And then we've been fortunate that most of those losses have come on the road and we're coming back home. And so playing at home, you hope that you play better. But we've got a tough task. Armstrong's a good team, coached by my former assistant, so she knows me well. And and it's just been a long week when you play Friday, Sunday, on the road Wednesday, and then Saturday. It's just a tiring, long week. But they're in the same boat because they're playing on the road.
You look at it, the last few games, you've been able to go to your bench more. Kim Blake has seen a lot more minutes. Mary McCarty getting in there and seeing some time. What have they done to progress to earn those extra minutes here? Well,
in practice, they've proven, it took Mary some time just coming from volleyball to learn, everything from offense to defensive principles. And so she stepped in there and she'll get a rebound. She'll block a shot, and she's comfortable catching it inside and going up and shooting it off the glass. So she's done that in practice. And then Kim has just got a really high basketball IQ. She's a coach's daughter, and she knows what we're wanting to accomplish, and she's got the confidence to knock down an open shot. So when we play teams that we feel like we need help at the point with another perimeter shooter or just somebody that's just going to make the right pass, Kim's that person. And, Young Harris played a lot of zone, and so I knew she would get it to the right person and she can make that shot. And then Pembroke plays man, but it's a sagging man. So and the same thing was at the game before. So hopefully we can continue that. She'll she'll continue to play with confidence, and we can use her some more.
When we watched against Pembroke, you talked to us before the game about how you were changing up lineups, going big, going small. What's the game plan for today?
We definitely have to do that. We had to get away from that. Young Harris, we didn't have an advantage one way or the other. They were just as big, and they play zone, so it wasn't like we were going to be able to isolate Aisha or Shaw on the block. And then if we tried to speed them up, our pressing lineup is so small that we were terrified that they would pound us inside because they were already having success with their big kids. So, but today we think we can get back to going a little big and posting Shaw and Aisha against some of their guards, and then pressing them a little bit and see if we can't create some easy points in transition off of turnovers.
Armstrong, a team that comes in identical records across the board with you all. What is it that they do that challenges you all on both ends?
They're balanced, first of all. They've got size inside that they can throw it into. They like some high-low with their post. And they got two guards, 21 Carlson and then 22 on the wings. They can both shoot it, and 22 can drive it a little bit. So, and then their point guard solid. She's quick as a hiccup and, can get in creases and kick it out to those shooters. So, and then they got some depth. They got depth inside, and they've got depth on the perimeter. So, I just think they're a balanced team. There's not one player you can point to say we can help off of her or double team somebody off of her. I think they're all dangerous. And defensively, Coach Falla does a great job of just getting her girls to play so hard on the defensive end, pressuring the ball, rotating in the help, diving on loose balls. They just really compete on the defensive end. So we've got to be able to execute and protect the basketball, not turn it over like we did on Wednesday night.
Falla Bullock, someone you mentioned that coached under you. Have you had a chance in your coaching career to coach against someone that coached on your staff?
No, I don't think I have. The only time we've had anything like that is when I left. Coach Sparks had to come back and coach against him. But now I'm getting old enough now that assistants are gone on. Most of my assistants, I've had a bunch of them have moved on to Division I assistant jobs, and then some even went to just the high school ranks and became a head coach in the high school. So this is going to be a different experience for me, coaching as a head coach against one of my former assistants. But she's a great person. We talk all the time, and she's doing a great job, and I'm happy for her.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to it. Best of luck today.
Thanks, Steve.
Back here live at center court, courtside on Cougar Sports TV as we get set for Columbus State and Armstrong, the first of two on this Saturday afternoon doubleheader here on Cougar Sports TV. Your starting lineups in game number one. It'll be the usual five for CSU. Brittany Tatum, Tay Smith, and Aisha Alexander in the backcourt. Shatil Bradford and Kerry Washington in the front court, as CSU is still the only Peach Belt Conference team to use the same starting five in every game this season. On the opposite side for Armstrong, it'll be Stephanie Coney, a senior out of Miami, along with Amber Howell, a 5'11 junior from Athens, Georgia. Tyler Carlson, who hit the game winner on Thursday night. Brianna Davis, the senior from Gary, Indiana. And Maury Wells, the 6-foot senior out of Rome, Georgia. Armstrong will be in their road black uniforms with the gold lettering and the maroon trim. CSU in the home whites with the red lettering and navy numerals. CSU leads the all-time series 29-20, the 50th overall meeting, as it'll be Washington to jump it up with Howell. Kerry will control it for CSU, and we're underway here on Cougar Sports TV. CSU, a loss on Wednesday night, trying to get back in the win column on their home floor where they've won 2 in a row in conference play. Brittany Tatum will run the offense for this CSU team, the freshman out of LaGrange, as Bradford goes to work. The leaner falling right, fell off the mark, and the long rebound pulled in by Carlson. CSU seems to go as its point guard and its outside shooting goes, as the first turnover belongs to Amber Howell, who took steps before she put the basketball on the floor. Brittany Tatum in wins this year for CSU has been so much better than she has been in losses, as Aisha Alexander goes off the glass for her first two. When CSU wins, Brittany Tatum averages about 3.5 points, 3.5 assists, 3.5 turnovers a game. When they lose, she gets about an assist a game and 7 turnovers. So that'll be something to keep an eye on as they go forward, as the shot was too strong from Davis, and it's Tatum that's pushing it the other way. Tay Smith drives baseline and gave it back. Alexander will try for a second in a row, and Aisha's knocked down her first two. Aisha didn't have a prolific scoring night on Wednesday at Young Harris. Had just 9 points, but did some other things well. Grabbed 5 rebounds, also had 5 assists on the board. So it was a good night for the senior out of Cuthbert as the shot again misses for Armstrong, that time out of the hands of Coney, the small guard. Tay Smith pushing it the other way. Kerry Washington running the floor, gets the easy layup, and Fala Bullock is going to take a timeout for Armstrong. The Lady Cougars off and running, a 6-0, and that time it was the athleticism and the speed of Kerry Washington that beat the post players for Armstrong down the floor, and Kerry rewarded with it. It's one of the things that Kerry really has going in her favor. Not the greatest offensive player in the half-court game where she's forced to post up and put offensive moves against a defender, but she's one that can get out in transition. She runs a lot better than most players at 6 foot will do so, and that time just beating the defender down the floor, and it was an easy lay-in for the junior out of Donaldsonville, Georgia, that's averaging 6.5 points a game. Armstrong again, winners of their last 3, knocking off Lander, Georgia Regents, and Francis Marion in 3 consecutive ball games. The last 2 of those they did at home, stepping out on the road today when they're 5-3 away from home. 2-2 in Peach Belt Conference play on the road. 2 minutes in, they've turned it over once, almost do it again there. Coney with the left hand, left it short, had a wide open look at a layup, and left it short. Washington saves it in bounds, and Tatum will push it the other way. It's a 3-on-3, and Tatum didn't see the defender from behind. Coney picked her pocket, leads it the opposite direction. So Tatum was off and on the move, but no one alerted her that Coney was coming in from behind to take it away. 2 minutes and 20 seconds in, and Armstrong now on the board as Brianna Davis drives left, lays it in with the right. Tatum now in the backcourt, picked up her dribble, and Jonathan Norton gets a timeout called. So both teams have to use a timeout in the first 2.5 minutes with 17:31 showing on the clock. Brittany Tatum that time with a young mistake, picking the ball up in the corner in the backcourt and quickly double-teamed, and they had no option but to bail her out with the timeout before she picked up the pivot foot and traveled, or before she turned it over with the pass. Brittany Tatum, though, has been the motor that makes this engine offensively for CSU run. When she's at her best, they're at her best, and Jonathan Norton has said it's a delicate balance and a line he has to tiptoe, because that's a lot of pressure to put on your freshman to say to her, hey, you are the key to this team. When you play well, we do. When you don't, we lose. So he doesn't put that kind of pressure on her, but you look at the numbers, and that is how this team goes, because she is the only true point guard that this team has. They have a lot of guards on the roster, but most of those are wing players and outside shooters, and it's Tatum that's really the only true point guard. They break the press out of the timeout. Nice job of court spacing that time for CSU. Tay Smith with a first three-point attempt. Barely grazes anything on its way through, but Kerry Washington on the backside with the rebound and the stick back. Oftentimes when you don't catch any rim at all, it's the offense that ends up in the best spot, because the defense is boxing out looking for a long rebound. Instead it falls right there around the rim. Howell puts it on the floor, drives left, had it blocked by Bradford, or Washington won. Carey was hit, and it looked like in the jaw or the neck area early in that possession, stretching that out as she is up there underneath the rim with 9 to go on the shot clock. Carlson from downtown missed everything. It was short and right, and Carlson drew nothing on it. So the dead ball will give him a chance to get back into the press. But CSU with an 8-2 lead, and out in transition, Tay Smith, the one on the receiving end that time. It's the danger of the press as a defense. You have the opportunity, if you're on offense, if you get it through the press quick enough, wide open layups can be had. And that time, CSU threw it over the top, and Brittany Tatum set up Tay Smith for two. 10-2, CSU in front, closing in on 16 minutes to go. Crashing from the backside was Smith that time for CSU, trying to grab the pass that came over the top. Tay picks up the first foul committed in this ball game, and we'll have our first sub come in. Brigitte Barta, a 6-foot freshman out of Budapest, Hungary, averaging 9.9 points per game into the ball game, as Carlson that time doesn't miss everything, as she got another clean look off an inbounds, and Tyler Carlson has her first from downtown, the leading scorer for this team. Again, CSU breaks the press. Tay Smith trying to match the three. Unable to do so, but an offensive rebound for Kerry Washington, then lost off the leg of Barta, so CSU will keep possession. So Kerry already twice on the offensive glass for CSU. Shatil Bradford driving right. The shot up over Howell off the glass, and Shatil has her first two. Good move that time by the senior out of Morrow. 4 different Lady Cougars in the scoring column already. It's a 12-5 game with under 16 to play. Barta, the long two, stepping out and showing some range. Stands 6 foot tall, but has the range to step out and knock it down. Barta almost with the steal that time on the dangerous cross-court pass. It got all the way through, though. Alexander, the long two, off the back rim. Davis the rebound, running it the other way. These two fast-paced early on. Both of them trying to pressure the basketball and force the tempo. Armstrong got it into the front court quickly, backed it out, and set up the half-court offense. Barta makes the tough catch, then the pass was not deflected. It goes out of bounds, and it'll belong to CSU after the media timeout. Armstrong's second turnover of the game, 15:07 to go. 12-7, CSU in front by 5. CSU off to a strong start to the first 5 minutes. 12-7, they have the lead over the Armstrong Pirates, trying to end the Pirates' 3-game winning streak. CSU trying to make it 3 straight that they've won at home here in the 2014 calendar year. Dee DeShazer will hit the floor out of the timeout, as will Kayla Richards for CSU. 2 players that can light it up from downtown if given the opportunity. It's Alexander and Smith that take a seat. CSU no issue with the pressure defense that time in the backcourt, and Kayla Richards with the travel off the pump fake. Took the step before she put it on the floor. It's got to be the most common traveling call in the game right now. You see it called every handful of possessions. The player will take the step off the pump fake before they put it on the floor, and they hit them with it every time. 5-point lead for CSU. Armstrong started slow. The offensive rhythm picking up a little bit here the last couple of minutes. Howell cut off. Barta has the shot blocked by Washington. They're going to say it wasn't blocked. They originally pointed CSU's direction, and it will be CSU basketball. So they're going to say Barta just missed it that poorly as Kerry Washington hits the floor on a blocking foul in the backcourt. The foul will go against Amber Johnson, who's into the game now for Armstrong. 1 foul per side here through 5.5 minutes. CSU has been in front throughout so far. DeShazer off a screen for the left side, and DD DeShazer, you watch the confidence grow in the young freshman. Every time she steps on the floor, they ask her to get out there and fire away from long distance, and she does just that. The pass deflected around the paint, finally kicked out into the hands of Howell. Up and around, Kerry Washington on the right side. Amber Howell has her first two. And again, Armstrong will go to the press on every opportunity. All 5 players standing behind the midcourt stripe. Not a ton of pressure on the ball as they back up after the ball gets inbounds. It's a change from where they were earlier. Earlier they were trapping in the backcourt, so showing different looks. Tatum to the basket with the left hand, and Brittany Tatum in the scoring column. They don't ask Brittany to score very often. Scores 8 points per ball game. But Jonathan Norton would much rather she just facilitate the offense all night than score points. Mid-range jumper, that time out of the hands of Davis. Rebound pulled in by Richards. DeShazer gets another clean look, this time right side, left it off the front rim. And the long rebound run down by Carlson in the corner. An 8-point game, 17-9, 13-15 to go in this first half. Over the top, Kerry Washington having none of that pass intended for Barta. Richards was coming to help on the backside, and Washington swatted it out of bounds. Subs in for Armstrong. It'll be Dee Hayward that will come in along with Hannah Bogner. A couple of international players for Armstrong. Mary McCartney in for the first time, along with Aisha Alexander, who's back on the floor. And Ashley Azuzu also checks in for the first time for CSU. So CSU going with a much bigger lineup now as Hayward misses the runner. Bogner underneath using her size, though, and then was hemmed up in a 3-second call. Bogner stands at 6'2", the post player out of Hungary. But that time grabbed the rebound and couldn't go up with it thanks to the defense put on by CSU. So Tatum off the floor for the first time. It'll be Aisha Alexander that will run the point for the Lady Cougars as they go to a much bigger lineup now. Couple of 6-foot players out there. Couple standing at 5'10", and then Alexander at 5'9" as the point guard. Bradford lost it that time, and it goes out of bounds. Last touched by the Pirates with 10 on the shot clock. 12:38 to go as Bradford will inbound. CSU will have 10 seconds to put it on the rim. They get into McCartney off the inbounds, off to Alexander. Working around Bogner, up through the taller player, and Bogner with the block. That's what Bogner does best. Blocking shots on the defensive end. She has 42 of them this season coming into play today. On the backside, shot clock winding down. Bogner gets another one on Alexander. Armstrong with numbers now. It's a 3-on-2 in transition. It's Brianna Davis that gets the layup. So a nice job by Bogner making her presence felt on the defensive end, blocking 2 shots and setting up the outlet for an easy layup. 17-11, it's a 6-point game and a kickball against Brianna Davis that time, deflecting the pass put on by Kayla Richards. Again, the bigger lineup for CSU on the floor, but it was Armstrong that made the size felt the last possession. Bradford is where they'd like to go out of this one as Richards tried the long 2 and missed it all. In this situation, Bradford's where they'd like to go. The larger forward playing against one of the smaller guards for Armstrong, but didn't get her a touch that time. The turnover gives it back to Armstrong with 11:53 to go and a media timeout on the floor. 17-11, CSU still leading by 6 here inside the Lumpkin Center. Stephen Williams back here with you on Cougar Sports TV, a Saturday afternoon Peach Belt Conference doubleheader from Columbus, Georgia. It's the Lady Cougars of Columbus State up 17-11 on the Pirates of Armstrong Atlantic State University as CSU goes to the press after the timeout with the smaller lineup on the floor. Armstrong able to break it, but the shot was missed that time by Amber Johnson, and then Johnson commits the foul on the backside after DeShazer grabbed the rebound. For Johnson, that's her second. She's committed the only 2 fouls that Armstrong has so far. They'll get her out of the game as Coney returns. Carlson will come back as well in place of Brianna Davis. CSU going small now. Brittany Tatum, Aisha Alexander, Dee DeShazer, Taze Smith, and Carrie Washington as they go 4 guards and a post. This will be the much quicker, better shooting lineup than they just had, and they'll press and trap defensively. Skip pass, Taze Smith driving right. A wild runner at the rim was missed. Washington's follow too strong. Carey grabbed another offensive rebound but couldn't get it. Back into the basket. Hayward the other way, missed the layup, and Washington again on the glass. A good day so far for Carey in that department. 4 points and 5 rebounds. And now Tatum took a step again before she put the ball on the floor. Another turnover. Again, CSU with this quick lineup on the floor will get into the backcourt and force Armstrong to work with every dribble. In transition that time, they get a clean look for Barta, who missed the layup, but she was fouled, and we'll have our first free throws coming up with this one. Brigitte Barta, the one headed to the line, the freshman out of Budapest, Hungary. Member of the under-16 Hungary national team, one of 2 players from Hungary on this roster. They also have Dee Hayward, who's out of Scotland, and Adanya Lewis, who comes from New Zealand. So 4 players, international players on this roster for Fala Bullock, her first year at the helm. Barta splits the pair, makes it a 5-point game. The foul was on DeShazer. It was her first. CSU again is led from start to finish so far as DeShazer gets a look left side, and Dee has a second one from downtown. Dee DeShazer with her second long bomb. She had a season high and a career high 14 points in here last Sunday against UNC Pembroke. Carlson going for her second, and she's got it as well. Tyler Carlson, one of the top 3-point shooters in the Peach Belt Conference, has her second. She's made at least 2 threes now in 11 of the 14 games that Armstrong has played. And that time, Coney picked the pass off. Read it, got in the lane, took it away, then lost her footing. Had to back it back out to slow it down. Now she'll go to the rim. They'll give it up. Barta gets a look from 8 feet, and Brigitte Barta has an early 5, and it's a 3-point game. Coney that time just read the eyes like a defensive back. Saw where Tatum wanted to go with it and just got right in the lane and took it the other way. Taze Smith, long 2, missed right. Carlson the rebound, and she's going to run with it. Coney, the kick out. This is Hayward cut off at the free throw line. Carlson jumping into a 3. She airballs for the second time. That one way too strong. Another long pass to the opposite side. CSU does that so often, and now Coney has another steal. That time a lazy pass from DeShazer, and Coney so quick, jumped in front, took the pass the other way for an easy 2, and it's a 1-point game. Can't make lazy passes. Armstrong trying to get in every passing lane so far. DeShazer inside the arc this time as it rattled out. Washington on the follow. There's been no answer so far from Armstrong for Carrie Washington on the glass, and CSU is glad to have Washington's services down there. 6 points, 7 rebounds for the junior in this first half. Three-point game. Armstrong a chance to tie if they could knock one down from downtown, but Washington doing it all right now for CSU, has the steal and then almost gives it up in the backcourt. Every pass has to have a purpose right now for CSU. Can't lightly lob one or bounce one into anywhere. Tatum gets the screen from Washington. Off to Alexander, baseline. Drives and has it blocked. Barta and Bogner both in there for the block. And it'll turn into another run out. It's a 3-on-1. Carlson to Coney with the left hand. Armstrong so good at turning defensive stops into runouts. And that time they get the easy two to get back within one at 22-21 with 7:45 to go in the first half. Cannot do anything lazy against this Armstrong bunch. They will make you pay and make you pay in a hurry. Washington, the follow-away, missed to the right, and Bogner had the rebound. And follow Bullock saying go, 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 go. Coney down to the other end gives Armstrong the first lead of the game as CSU was late getting back defensively again, and Coney has 6 on 3 layups. Armstrong using size and quickness right now to get the best of CSU, and Brittany Tatum has turned it over again. This time another travel call. We've got a media timeout. 7:09 to go in the first half, and for the first time in the ball game, it's Armstrong that's in front, 23-22 here on Cougar Sports TV. (23-22). It's the Pirates of Armstrong that are up in front of Columbus State in the early going. The first time they've led in this one. CSU already with 7 turnovers that have turned into 9 Armstrong points. And Armstrong in the midst of a 13-2 run. Over the top, they drop it down low. The kick out has Davis open on the right wing. Missed the 3. Barta, though, down low to grab the offensive rebound and lay it back in. Brigitte Barta with 7 now. CSU trailing by 3 as Shatil Bradford goes to the right and drives for 2. Bradford in off the bench, as is Ashley Azuzu, Tay Smith, Kim Blake, and Kayla Richards as CSU goes with a brand new 5 after the timeout. Jonathan Norton not happy with what he was getting out of the former 5. The shot from Davis again off the mark. Ashley Azuzu rips down the rebound, and CSU again will push the tempo. Kim Blake on the floor for the first time, playing much more the last few games than she did in the early portion of the season as Tay Smith tried to go through the contact. It's been a rough go from the field for her today. She's 1 for 6. Davis, a look, this time the left side from downtown is good to Brianna Davis. So a 4-point edge now with 5:40 to go. Bradford tries the left side, stops, got the defender off of her, shook Maury Wells, and then Bradford puts it in for her 6th point. 5.5 to go, a very evenly matched first half. 2 teams that came in with identical records across the board. Baseline jumper for Maury Wells goes down. Her first 2. That's a player that Follow Bullock would love to have back to the status where she was her freshman and sophomore year. Azuzu back to the basket, turns around and hits the back rim. The rebound grabbed by Carlson, and she'll run it the other way. Doesn't have numbers, but it doesn't matter as she goes to the rim. Lost it, asking for a holding call by the official underneath the basket. Doesn't get it, and the ball last touched by Carlson out of bounds. So CSU will check Alexander and Smith and Washington back into the game. So 4 of the starting 5, and it's Kayla Richards in place of Brittany Tatum for CSU. Trailing by 4, 30-26, under 5 minutes left in this first half. Very fast-paced, up-tempo first half. Bradford fighting down low, and another lazy pass is a steal for Coney. Coney the other way, and again, Stephanie Coney, the guard out of Miami, is wreaking havoc on the defensive end right now. CSU has not been able to solve her in the passing lanes right now. The rip and the run the other way for 2. Washington with the left hand showing a post move that time. Carey with 8 points to go with her 7 rebounds. Doing a great job on the interior for CSU, and she's tied with Coney for the game lead in scoring right now. Under 4 to go in the first half. Coney will try this time from distance from the left-hander. Stephanie Coney in double figures. She has 11. She came in averaging 6 per game. Someone's got a mark 12 in black at the moment. Largest deficit for the Lady Cougars at 7. Bradford will try to answer, and she does. Shatil Bradford helping the CSU cause from downtown. That's 9 for the senior. On the baseline, Howell blocked from behind by Washington. It's loose on the floor. A couple of players hit the deck. The tie-up goes to the alternate possession arrow, and that'll keep it with Armstrong after the final media timeout of half number 1. CSU still trailing, 3:16 to go. It's Armstrong 35, Lady Cougars 31. Pretty similar numbers across the board for these two sides with 3:16 to go in the first half. Armstrong, though, has made one more shot, and it happened to be an outside shot than CSU has the first 17 minutes. One extra shot, and they have the only free throw make of the game. From downtown, it rattles around and down for Brianna Davis. She's in double figures with 10, and it's a 7-point game again. Second time Armstrong's led by 7. It's the largest lead of the game for the Pirates. CSU at one point led by 8 at 20-12. Dee DeShazer into the game. Lost it right into the arms of Carlson, and it's a chance to go up 9 or even 10 here for the Pirates in this first half. Coney driving to the rim was cut off before the kick out. The foul committed on the floor. It may have been the best option for CSU because Carlson was wide open on the left side had there been no foul call. The foul was on Tatum. That's her first. We only had 5 fouls in this entire game so far, so not really a factor at this point. Howell, good defense that time by Bradford. Discouraged the shot, and it was an air ball. CSU has to take advantage of it, though. DeShazer will try again from downtown, and Dee has a third one. Such a weapon off the bench from outside. She doesn't do a whole lot for the CSU team, but what she does well. Knocks down her third from outside. She has 9 points and a big one to pull them within 4 with 2:15 on the clock. Davis will try a hot hand again. That one doesn't get the friendly roll. Bogner has the offensive rebound, and Bradford clobbered her underneath the basket. For Bradford, that's her first. Again, 4 fouls on the Lady Cougars now, only 2 committed by Armstrong. The unfortunate part for Fala Bullock is both fouls were committed by Amber Johnson. Davis gets another look from downtown, and fortunately for CSU, it missed left. Bradford the rebound, and she's going to run it the other way. Tatum driving. They'll kick it around. DeShazer again from outside has a fourth. D.D. DeShazer closing in on that career high she set on Sunday of 14. She has 12 in the first half. Back-to-back threes is a personal 6-0 run to cut it down to 1 at 38-37 with 1:30 to go. Big-time minutes down the stretch here in this first half for D.D. DeShazer, the freshman out of Tifton, Georgia, and Carrie Washington with the steal. CSU a chance to add on and lead now. Tatum trying to go all the way to the rim, and nobody back defensively for Armstrong as Carlson couldn't get set. Commits the foul underneath, and it'll be her first. Barta will hit the floor in favor of Howell for Armstrong. Tatum in the act of shooting will head to the free throw line. They're going to say she was trying to get it up on the rim. So a 2-shot foul. These are the first free throws that CSU has taken in this game so far. It took them 18 minutes and 44 seconds, and Tatum barely grazes iron on the first. Armstrong, 1 of 2 from the line. This will be the second one that CSU has taken. Trying to tie the game at 38. Tatum left them both hanging, but Carrie Washington kept it alive with an offensive rebound. Washington will get a touch, working on Bogner, kicks it out. Bradford drives on Barta, got the defender in the air, and they're going to say she traveled with it. So the turnover on CSU is their 9th, and they miss an opportunity, rather their 10th, a missed opportunity to regain the lead. 1 minute to go now in this first half. 38-37. Armstrong, who's controlled the last 6 minutes, in front by a point. Carlson hit the underside of the backboard, got caught too far underneath. DeShazer on a run out, missed it short. Got her own miss, and CSU will have a fresh 30 to go with it. Bradford off the dribble. Missed the shot, and a foul coming up on the rebound against Carrie Washington. So another missed opportunity for CSU to take the lead, and that time they had a run out. 10 seconds, exactly the differential between the two clocks. Armstrong still in front by a point as we close in on time to head to the locker room. DeShazer got a hand on it. She's got it going the other way. She'll stop and pop and have it blocked. She gives up almost a foot to Bogner. Had it blocked, and Carrie Washington saves it off of Carlson underneath as it's a sloppy exchange in the last 30 seconds here between these two sides. But with 19 seconds to go, CSU has it. Shot clock off. A chance to take the lead into the locker room. Off the inbounds, Bradford wide open, knocks down another one from downtown. Shatil Bradford with her second. Clock running with 11 seconds to go. CSU in front by 2. Armstrong with a final shot of the half. This is Davis off a screen for the lead. Clangs off the rim. The rebound for Washington. The horn will sound, and we'll go to the locker room with CSU in front, 40-38. A high-scoring, entertaining first half between the Lady Cougars and the Pirates here in Columbus in Game 1 of our doubleheader. And it's CSU that will head into the locker room with a 40-38 lead after trailing for quite a while down the stretch. The Lady Cougars led for much of the first half gave up the lead, and Armstrong got hot from outside, controlled, and then in the final seconds there, Shatil Bradford with the three off the inbounds gets the basket to put them back up by 2 and give them a 40-38 edge as they go to the locker room at halftime. CSU knocked down 6 threes in that first half, 4 of them belonging to D.D. DeShazer, whose time with Shatil Bradford, with 12 points to be the game leader at this point. Kerry Washington has 8 to go along with 11 rebounds as she is 2 points away from a double-double, nearly had it in the first half. Aisha Alexander with 4, 2 for Tay Smith and 2 for Brittany Tatum. On the opposite side, Stephanie Coney, who was such a menace defensively against CSU, picked up 11 points, had 4 steals to go along with a pair of assists as well. So 11 for Coney, 7 for Brigitte Barta. Brianna Davis, who hit a pair of threes, has 10. The leading scorer, Tyler Carlson, hit 2 from downtown to give her 6. 2 for Amber Howell and 2 for Maury Wells as well in that first half. So it was quite the entertaining first half, high-flying, a lot of downtown shooting, and they'll take it to the locker room at halftime with CSU in front, 40-38 here inside the Lumpkin Center. They head to the locker rooms. We'll take the halftime break with them. When we come back, we'll take a look at your Peach Belt Conference standings as these two teams both 4-3 in Peach Belt Conference play. We'll take a look at how things stack up inside the PBC and where we're at today with a lot of games going on across the conference. As we head to the break at the halftime, it's 40-38. CSU in front by 2. Stephen Williams back here with you inside the Lumpkin Center on Cougar Sports TV. First of our doubleheader on this Saturday afternoon as CSU leads 40-38 at the break over Armstrong Atlantic State University. Two teams each held leads in that first half. CSU by 8, as much as 8. Armstrong by as much as 7, but it was CSU that closed with a strong end of the half to give them a 2-point advantage as they go to the locker rooms at the break and come back out and get ready for this second half. CSU in the first half shot 17 of 36, 47%. They were 6 of 9 from downtown. Shatil Bradford was 2 of 2 from outside. Dee Dee Shazer was 4 of 5 as she's 2 points away from her career high in the first half. On the opposite side, 46% for Armstrong. They were 5 of 11 from downtown and only 2 free throws taken by each side. Armstrong made one. CSU missed both of theirs. These two teams came in with identical 9-4 records, 4-3 inside the Peach Belt Conference as we take a look at where things stand entering play today. Armstrong tied for the top spot on the eastern side. They're tied with Francis Marion, who they knocked off at the Horn on Thursday night at 4-3. That eastern side is just a jumbled mess right now. Everybody with at least 3 losses, nobody with more than 5. All 7 teams eligible for the Peach Belt Conference on that side, and only 4 of them can come back here in March. So it's going to be a wild run to the PBC tournament on that eastern side. On the western side, it's a little more clear-cut. North Georgia, 6-0, undefeated in Peach Belt Conference play. Young Harris, who defeated the Lady Cougars, is 5-1, but they are ineligible for the PBC tournament, so they won't matter in the 4 that gets here for the PBC tournament. So that's something to keep in mind. And then CSU in a 3-way tie for 3rd at the moment. Clayton State, the preseason conference favorite at 4-3 with CSU and Georgia College, who we'll see here on February 1st in this building. Montevallo's grabbed a couple of wins in PBC play as they are 2-5 in the Georgia Southwestern, carrying up the basement at 1-5. Inside the Western Division. Today, Clayton State's on the road at UNC Pembroke. Flagler is in Americus to take on Georgia Southwestern. Flagler will be here on Monday for an afternoon doubleheader on MLK Day. Armstrong here in Columbus. Montevallo's at Francis Marion. North Georgia on the road at Georgia Regents, and Young Harris is at USC Aiken. The first 5 of those games going on right now. The game at USC Aiken will start at 5:30 tonight. Second half of action getting set to kick off. CSU will go with its original starting 5. Bradford and Washington in the middle. It'll be Alexander, Tatum, and Smith on the outside for CSU as they work in their home white uniforms, working left to right as you're looking at it. For Armstrong, it'll be Wells out there along with Davis, Carlson, Howell, and Coney. Their starting 5 hitting the floor in the black uniforms to start off the second half. Two teams that were very evenly matched in half number 1. It was CSU, though, that closed strong and took the lead in the locker room. Bradford with the short jumper picks up right where she left off in the first half, and Shatil Bradford now has a game-high 14 points. CSU in the midst of an 11-0 run as they trailed 38-31. Hit 3 straight threes to close out the half, and then the opening basket here. Opening possession of the second half for Armstrong. The shot up, well short on the part of Howell, but Kerry Washington caught her on the arm. And it will send Armstrong to the free throw line where we haven't spent very much time today. Only 5 fouls committed in the first half by CSU. Nobody picked up more than 1. And it was for Armstrong, 3 fouls. Amber Johnson had 2. Tyler Carlson had the only other one. Again, CSU led by as much as 8 at 20-12. Armstrong led by 7 at 2 separate occasions, most recently at 38-31. Brigida Barta quickly in off the bench for Fala Bullock. It was Howell that sits down as we've yet to play a full minute in this second half. Again, if you're just joining us, Fala Bullock, the new head coach at Armstrong, a one-time assistant for Jonathan Norton here in Columbus. Spent 2 seasons, 09-10 and 10-11, as Tay Smith misses the 3. Spent 2 years here before starting the program at Central Georgia Technical College, as Carlson on the turnaround missed, and the rebound controlled by Bradford. So a familiar face coming home here to Columbus. Bradford cut off, working that pivot foot, drops it off for Smith, and Smith, before she could give it up, has a 3-second call come up against CSU. It was Washington or Bradford, couldn't tell who it was in the paint. They didn't get out of there in time. The turnover is the 11th on CSU, 8 committed by Armstrong so far. Armstrong has turned it into 13 points off turnovers as Carlson missed to the right. Alexander the rebound and runs it the other way. Tay Smith cut off. Underneath, Washington, who needs a basket for a double-double, missed the shot. Bradford on the rebound. They're going to wipe the basket off, say the foul was on the floor. It's on Carlson. It'll be her second. CSU did a great job on the glass in the first half. Out-rebounding Armstrong 22-16 as Tatum misses from beyond the arc. So CSU was hot from outside in the first half. They missed a couple here in the second. Lady Cougars grabbed 8 offensive rebounds in half number 1. Kerry Washington made a living off of that as Shatil Bradford commits the foul against Carlson, who will head to the free throw line. For Bradford, that's her second. And Tyler Carlson will attempt free throws number 5 and 6 for the Pirates in the game. Carlson, the leading scorer for this team, a senior out of Richmond Hill, Georgia. Played her first 2 seasons of her career at Mars Hill before transferring to Armstrong. Doubling up what she did last year as a junior in Savannah. Averaged 7 points per game. This year she's averaging nearly 15. One of the top 3-point shooters in all of the Peach Belt Conference. Stephanie Coney right now all in Brittany Tatum's jersey. But Tatum creates for Kerry Washington and give Kerry the double-double. That's 10 points and 11 rebounds for the junior. Again, these two sides swarming each other on the defensive end. Quick guards all over the floor. And there's a lot of hands on defense. 44-42, CSU breaks the tie with the last basket. Wells for the lead. Off the front rim, the rebound corralled in by Alexander. Alexander leads it all the way, trying to go coast to coast. They're going to say foul on the floor. Again, no shot attempt. The foul will go against Tyler Carlson. That'll be her third. So an important one there to mark down. 17:08 to go in the second half, and the leading scorer for Armstrong will have to check out with 3 fouls. Dee Hayward will come in her place. Hannah Bogner also in underneath now, the 6'2 post from Hungary. Three minutes gone by. CSU has watched its lead stay at 2, 44-42, as Bradford is fouled on her way to the rim. Went right at Barta and Bogner, the 2 interior post players for Armstrong. The foul goes on Bogner. That's her first. Armstrong's already committed as many fouls in 3 minutes and 10 seconds as they did in 20 minutes in that first half. Shatil Bradford, the one at the free throw line, having a very strong performance so far. 15 points for the senior, who started her season off so well. She had the 35-point performance as she carried CSU against West Georgia in an early season victory. Had a couple of 20-point performances, was the Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week back in November. And since then, the numbers have gone down a little bit. You knew they would return back into the atmosphere a little bit. She wasn't going to average 25 points a game, as Washington just about got a steal underneath. It'll stay on this end with 17 seconds on the shot clock. But Bradford, getting the scoring going again, has been in double figures this season now in 13 of 14 games and has really led this team as one of the 3 key seniors. 46-42, it's a 4-point game now. Coney gives it up. Hayward gets a look from the left side, left it short. Alexander, another rebound. That's her 4th to go along with just 4 points. She'll try to add to that total, but she missed it short. Washington's follow is missed, and then she can't corral it for the second try. CSU is all over the glass, but you got to make them count when you get them like that. So still a 4-point game. We've seesawed back and forth in this one so far. It was all CSU early. Armstrong, though, through their defense, it was Stephanie Coney, who has the basketball now, who really kick-started everything. Got in the passing lanes, had a couple of easy steals and lay-ins, and that really got the Pirates going and put them in front as Brigitte Barta puts a strong move on the floor and knocks down the long jumper. Barta having a nice night. 9 points for her, a point away from her average. Aisha Alexander trying to direct traffic, the second point guard on the floor for CSU. Tatum, long jumper, was short. It bounces right back out to her, and she'll try an even longer jumper, and that one's short again, and we've got a foul coming up from behind on the rebound against Hannah Bogner, and it was Carrie Washington again that was in position to grab an offensive rebound. 15:29 to go in this ball game here in Columbus, Georgia on a Saturday afternoon, 46-44. Columbus State still in front by 2. The under-16 media timeout here on Cougar Sports TV. Neither side setting the world on fire here in the second half offensively. 4.5 minutes in, CSU is just 2 of 9 from the field and 0 for 2 from beyond the arc. 1 for 5 from the floor and 0 for 3 from downtown for Armstrong. The Pirates have gotten 4 of their 6 points in this half from the free throw line. CSU has gotten 2 of its 6 from the charity stripe. Off the inbound, CSU has it with a new shot clock. They'll waste no time in firing at the basket as Tay Smith struggles from the floor. Continue as she missed the jump shot. And Brittany Tatum grabbing the outlet pass that time, deflecting it out of bounds before crashing into the tables. So it'll stay with Armstrong. Tay having a rough go of things right now. 1 for 8 from the field, 0 for 2 from downtown, but I was in the hallway outside the locker room at halftime. And on the way out of the locker room, Jonathan Norton looked at her and said, "Hey, keep firing 23. She said, "Yes, sir," and message received. Bogner from the mid-range, way too strong. Not much of an offensive player for Armstrong. Averages 4 points per game, but that's not her strong suit, as that one missed by about 3 feet over the rim. 10 on the shot clock as Armstrong gets it after the CSU deflection. Gonna have to put a shot up in a second. Down to 3. The three-pointer on the way. The rebound grabbed by Bradford. One-shot possessions have been key. Alexander's long 2. Didn't get with it. Bradford grabbed the rebound and a foul again against Armstrong on the glass. The foul goes against Brigitte Barta. It's her first. 5th of the half already by Armstrong. So free throws could be coming shortly for the Lady Cougars, who lead by 2 with 14:40 to go in this ball game. 46-44. CSU running its curls up top, setting screens. They get Bradford isolated on the right side, powering over Barta, and Shatil Bradford called for the offensive foul. Barta saw the move coming, set herself. Bradford ducked into it, and Shatil has picked up her 3rd. Patrons inside the Lumpkin Center not pleased with that one. but it's the third against the senior from Morrow. Armstrong a chance to tie her lead. Washington again deflects the pass. Alexander has it the other way. Carrie Washington having one of her best games of the season right now. Kicks it out for Bradford, who will pull up from 6 feet, and Shatil Bradford adds to her strong day. Give her 18. Above her season average now of 16 points per game. 48-44. This has been no wider than 4 points here in this second half. And that pass goes to the corner for Davis, who misses the three, and Carrie Washington has her 13th rebound. Tatum quickly up the floor to Bradford. Basket and one. Shatil Bradford starting to push herself forward in this second half. She scored 8 of the 10 that CSU has scored in this second 20 minutes. As the foul goes against Hannah Bogner, that's her third, and she's committed all 3 in this half. Coney will come back in, and we'll get our first look at Morgan Mitchell as well. Mitchell, a 5'9 senior out of Lilburn, Georgia. Dee Dee DeShazer in for CSU, as is Kayla Richards and Ashley Azuzu. Shatil Bradford at the line to finish off the three-point play. And I'm going to say lane violation against Armstrong will wipe off the free throw miss that time of Bradford. So they get another opportunity at it as CSU tries to open up its widest margin since 20-12 in the first half. Bradford can't make the second one count, though. And the rebound, last touch by Barta of Armstrong, so CSU will get it right back. CSU with a 33-21 edge on the glass. Richards on the inbounds, trying to get it to Azuzu. A really difficult spot to throw that ball inbounds, and Ashley, with the defensive pressure, lost it. That pass put Ashley in a bad position there, double-teamed. And a turnover. So it stays a 6-point game, 13:30 left. Armstrong hasn't led in the second half. They tied it at 42, but CSU quickly regained the lead. Into the corner, Morgan Mitchell from downtown. The three wasn't there. Davis, the rebound and the follow, missed. Bogner and Bradford fighting for it. Rather, Bogner and Azuzu fighting for it. And Azuzu hit with the foul. That'll be her first. Bradford will sit down. Michelle Montgomery will hit the floor for the first time for CSU, the freshman out of Kentucky. So CSU with 4 players off its bench and Brittany Tatum, the point guard, on the floor right now. This is Barta from 17 feet. The shot wasn't there. Mitchell got the backside rebound and then traveled, switched her pivot feet. So a turnover on the Pirates is their 10th. CSU's done it 13 times. It's a 50-44 game. Lady Cougars by 6, under 13 minutes to go, and now we get to watch Tatum dribble against Coney. This has been a matchup all night long. And Barta comes to steal it away, gets in the passing lane, drops it back to Coney, back to Barta, and the give and go turns into a layup for Armstrong. There will be a warning issued to Armstrong. Not quite sure what it was for. The ref stopped play there to issue the warning. And again, they go into the corner on the near side of the court. CSU again with the press defense and against it. Couldn't get it inbounds in the right spot. They turn it over, and Armstrong a chance to get back within one possession. Defense was the way they got back into the game in the first half after trailing by 8. And now CSU will settle into its 3-2 zone. Tatum, DeShazer, and Richards up top. It's Montgomery and Azuzu underneath. Foul coming up against Azuzu away from the ball. Barta is quite the handful underneath right now for Azuzu to handle. It's her second. Washington will come in along with Alexander. Azuzu and Tatum will sit down. So Carey will get in defensively on the inside. Coney, a clean look, high arcing from the left side. And it'll stay with Armstrong after Alexander touched the ball last. So they'll get another look on this possession. Davis, pump fake, steps in and drains it. Brianna Davis with her first of the second half. Good looking move that time. So back to a 2-point game. Neither one of these teams surging forward enough to put the other away. DeShazer, wide open left side, back rimmed it. Trying to run her own rebound down, committed the foul, going after it as Bogner got to it first. So fouls playing more of a role here in the second half as both teams have committed 6 already. So we'll shoot free throws on just about every foul in this ball game going forward. Under 12 media timeout here in the Lumpkin Center. 50-48. It's still a 2-point game. CSU in front. Stephen Williams back here with you on Cougar Sports TV. CSU in front of Armstrong, 50-48 with 11:52 to go here in this second half. These two teams, each one looking for its 10th win of the season and 5th in conference play. CSU has had the lead or been tied every second of this second half, but a long ball here from Armstrong would change that. Davis will try to put the Pirates in front, missed badly on the 3, and a foul on the rebound goes against Howell, committing the foul from behind against Kayla Richards, who will walk to the other end and have the 1-and-1 as we've reached the bonus on both sides. So Kayla Richards, the sophomore from Cumming, Georgia, will have a chance to get her first points of the game from the free throw line. CSU has taken just 5 of them in this game. They've missed 3 of them. They've missed now 4 of their 6 that they've taken, and CSU continues to struggle from the foul line where they're just 62% for the season. So again, another empty possession for CSU in this second half as they've not had much offense. 10 points in nearly 9 minutes as they almost get the turnover. Carlson, who's back on the floor, lost it. Howell had it deflected, blocked by Washington that time. And then it finally winds up in the hands again of Armstrong. So again, sloppiness everywhere. And Armstrong will force CSU to guard again for 30 seconds. Coney into the hands of Howell, who kicks it out. Davis will try where she just made 1, can't get that one. And Bradford high for the rebound, and another rebounding foul will send CSU to the free throw line. Paula Bullock not happy with her interior play. She had checked Bogner and Barta off the floor, but they did not get much of a rest, and so the 2 post players for Armstrong will hit the court again as Wells and Howell will come back out. It's been Bogner and Barta for the majority of the time, and they've helped own the interior on the defensive side of the floor. Shatil Bradford at the line for the 1-and-1. Already with 21 points now after that free throw goes through. Give her 22 now. Bradford with 10 in this second half of the 12 that CSU has scored. The only other basket belonged to Kerry Washington. Someone else is going to have to help the Lady Cougars out. Kickball against Alexander will leave the ball in possession of Armstrong. 10:28 to go. It's a 4-point game, 52-48. CSU still holding on to the lead. Bogner off the inbounds, again with the air ball. She airballed long earlier, and that one trying to overcompensate. Airballed it short. Both times she's missed by about 3 feet. They have not been close. Tatum with it in the front court, again being guarded by Coney. Coney has been in her hip pocket the entire ball game, and a hand check foul coming up against the guard. Fala Bullock screaming for a 5-second call. Foul on Coney is her first. Give her credit. She guards tough, but she doesn't foul when she guards. It's Brittany Tatum at the free throw line. This is the last 1-1 for CSU. 9th team foul against Armstrong as Tatum knocks the free throw down. And hasn't been a high-scoring day for her. She has just 3 points now. 3 points to go along with 4 assists, but she has turned it over 5 times. Makes both free throws, give her 4, and it's back to a 6-point game. Armstrong has seen this deficit a couple of times in this half, but both times they've been able to put a run together of their own to get back within 1 possession. They haven't had enough, though, to get over the hump to put them back in front, as they'll get a blocking foul against Alexander, who bailed out at the last second and committed the foul. Just the first against Alexander. That's the 7th against CSU, but in the act of shooting, Brianna Davis gets 2 from the line, and she'll add to her team-leading total as she now has 13. Davis came in the second leading scorer on the team, 14 points a game, a senior out of Gary, Indiana, and she's right at that 14-point average, and again, after a make, they'll get a chance to go into the full-court press. And a 5-second call. CSU couldn't get it inbounds. And they turn it over. Turnover number 16 against the Lady Cougars. And Armstrong has done a nice job of turning turnovers into points. 17 points off 15 turnovers. And now we're going to get a discussion as to who touched that one last. CSU thought Carlson did. Armstrong thought Washington did. And the official on the baseline will overrule the one on the sideline and say it touched Carlson last. Washington walked out and deflected it. Hard to tell from our angle who it was that touched it last, but the official felt comfortable with it enough to overrule his partner as we'll get another foul coming up against Coney playing defense. You love Coney's aggressiveness on the defensive end, but fouling 45 feet away from the basket with 10 minutes to go already in the bonus is tough to do. It's tough to justify that. So Brittany Tatum to the line, the 10th team foul, now gives her 2 free throws. But if there's any solace in the fouls, that's the fact that CSU is not a good free throw shooting team. Tatum misses them both. Washington on the follow. They're going to say committed an offensive foul against Carey. That'll be her 3rd, and so we're in a free throw shooting contest now. So Hannah Bogner will walk to the other end on the 8th team foul by CSU, and she'll shoot the 1-and-1. Bogner, a 70% free throw shooter. The stroke looked much better for her from the free throw line than it has from the field so far in this one. Jump shot has not looked comfortable, but she looks fine at the foul line. Bogner gets them both, so they take it from a 6-point deficit to down to 2 again. This is what the Pirates have done. Do they have enough to get over the hump, though? They've tied it at 42 once in this half. That was it. Tatum created for Carey, didn't make a clean catch. Tay Smith from downtown got the friendly roll. Off the front rim and bounced through. Tay needed to see one go through the net. And now Brittany Tatum picks the pocket of Carlson. Tatum to the other end with the left hand, missed it, and an offensive foul, and Jonathan Norton can't believe it. Coney stepped in, got up underneath Tatum, drew the offensive foul, the second foul against the freshman point guard, and that will upset the fans behind us. 5-point game, 9:21 to go, 57-52. This game has been no wider than 8 points at any time in this ball game. Carlson from NBA range, and that's the third time that she has airballed from outside. She's a great three-point shooter and a big-time threat from out there, but it's 3 times tonight that she has completely missed the rim and the backboard. So 5-point game, and CSU trying to stretch it back out again. Armstrong had pulled within 2. Tatum to the rim. The basket goes down, and this time she'll head to the line. Foul goes against Brianna Davis, and CSU now with 8:49 to go. A chance to open up its largest lead of the game. They led by 8 at one time in the first half at 20-12. They have not led by 8 since then, but Tatum can make it that now, but she leaves another point at the line. Alexander on the rebound will get 2 shots for CSU, though, as the Lady Cougars grab another offensive board. Foul on Bogner. It'll be her 4th. So it'll force Fala Bullock to take one of her post players off the floor that's played so well for her. Alexander misses the free throw. CSU 6 of 14 from the line. Bogner will sit down. Mitchell will come back in. Hayward back in as Johnson sits down, or rather Davis sits down as well. Alexander able to get the second. Aisha scored the first 4 for CSU. That was her first point since the opening 4 points of the game. Aisha with 5, CSU 7 of 15 from the line, and they've matched their largest lead at 8 as they've run off 6 in a row. And now settling into a zone. Dropping it underneath, Barta got a clean look after Washington came over to help, and Brigitte Barta with 13. Bradford running it the other way, stops at 8 feet, missed the shot. Alexander on the glass gives CSU another offensive rebound. Tay Smith drives baseline and traveled. CSU has grabbed 15 offensive rebounds to 17 defensive rebounds for Armstrong. So it's almost 50-50 right now on that end of the floor on the glass. That is a number Jonathan Norton will take in every ball game. Carlson, wide open look, doesn't get the friendly roll. Barta with the offensive board, though, keeps it alive. Underneath, Barta made the tough catch. Kerry Washington commits the foul, and Barta will head to the line for 1. Foul on Kerry is her 4th, so she'll have to sit now. She's had such a good ball game so far, but 7:49 to go. We head to the under 8 media timeout. Washington headed to the bench with 4 fouls. Armstrong to the line to make it a 1-possession game when we come back. 60-56, CSU in front. 4-point game in the opening game of our doubleheader here on Cougar Sports TV. 25 minutes following the conclusion of this one. The men's half will kick off. Two teams that need Peach Belt Conference victories coming up after this one. 60-56, it's Brigida Barta at the line to add to the potential three-point play, and able to do so as she now has 16 points. And back to the press they go and turn it right over. Carlson with the steal. Barta trying to finish, way too strong, a lot of contact underneath. 3-point game though. Give credit to both sides. To CSU, they've not surrendered the lead, but give credit to Armstrong because they've fought and clawed their way back every single time. Bradford spinning to the left, around Barta, and into the basket. Shatil Bradford with 24. Carlson to the rim, creating the contact for herself. And Alexander hit with the foul. Jonathan Norton not happy with himself, having to hold his tongue over there, saying it's happening the same way on the other end. But it's interesting how the tide of this game has turned in the second half in the foul department. There were 8 fouls called in half number 1. Both teams are in the double bonus, and we've got 7:18 to go here in this second half. Carlson makes them both. She's into double figures now with 10. And again, after made free throws, they get a chance to get into their press. Tatum got over the top of it, though. On the run, missed the layup. Alexander, the offensive rebound, and missed the follow. So 2 looks that time from right around the rim, and CSU missed them both. Carlson headed back to the line, and this time it'll be for 1 as somehow she maneuvered that one into the basket. Carlson, a chance to tie the game up now after DeShazer commits her 3rd foul. Carlson now with the chance at the line to tie this game at 62 apiece. 7:04 to go, and Jonathan Norton is going to gamble. Kerry Washington will come back into the game with 4 fouls. This would right here tie it for the first time since 42 all early in this half, and Carlson true at the line. So CSU has not surrendered this lead in the second half. And a foul coming up on the inbound. Goes against Dee Hayward. It's her first, and that'll bail CSU out as they were getting ready to get called for a 5-second call if they didn't get a timeout called. But at 62 all, we'll walk to the other end. And Tay Smith will have 2 shots as both teams are well into the double bonus at this time. CSU has committed 12 fouls in this half. Armstrong has been called for 13. Tay, a quiet offensive day so far, knocks down both free throws. She's a reliable shooter from the line at nearly 89%. One of the few for CSU that actually shoots it well from the stripe. Again, though, CSU isn't trailing. They move back in front by 2. They last trailed at 38-37 late in the first half. Mitchell underneath. Armstrong executes to perfection and gets Morgan Mitchell a clean look for her first basket, and it's tied at 64. .6:30 to go now. Alexander drives on Carlson. Off the glass, too strong. Rebound for Coney, and Armstrong will try to lead now. Coney, though, lost it. Got going too fast. They'll outlet it. Bradford on the other end. Under control, got the layup, and CSU will take a timeout. So again, CSU has still not surrendered the lead. Armstrong has kept fighting to get back within 2 or tie the ball game up. But every time they do, CSU has had an answer on the offensive end. Shatil now with 26, and there's a timeout on the floor with 6:15 to go. These two played a close ball game last year in Savannah. 72-68, CSU ended up winning it by 4. 7 times in the first 13 games this season, CSU has played a game that finished within 5 points. They have not a stranger, if by any means, to playing close ball games. They are 5-2, though, this season in games that end within 5 points. So at least this senior-led bunch knows what it's like to play down the stretch, and this one, the way it's going right now, looks like it's going to be every bit of 5 or less. CSU led 40-38 at the halftime break. They opened up an 8-point lead at 60-52, but Armstrong, again on the heels of defense and interior play, has gotten back in it, tied it a couple of times, and now they trail by 2 with the basketball with 6:15 to go. CSU shooting 43% from the field. Armstrong is down to 38. Lady Cougars are at 54% from beyond the arc. Armstrong at just 25. CSU, though, leaving points at the foul line. Armstrong's 13 of 14 from free throw line. CSU is 9 of 17. That is a tough number to overcome in a close ball game. Just over 6 minutes to go. Armstrong basketball. Carlson for the lead. Miss to the right. Alexander the rebound. A big miss that time by the leading scorer for the Pirates. CSU, though, has to get the stop and add on. Tatum, the hesitation, and then gets into the middle for the layup. The freshman with 8, and it's a 4-point game with 5:40 to go. Again, tie game, CSU with the answer to surge back forward. Under 5.5 left. Carlson at the top, trying to get the screen from Barta. They get Barta the ball underneath. Missed it to the short side, but Mitchell kept it alive on an offensive rebound. The pass thrown through everyone. Official says no one touched it. It's headed the other way. The 14th turnover committed by Armstrong. So CSU has made it 4 points in a row to break a 64 all time. They'll try to add to it as Armstrong will back out of the press this time and allow CSU to slowly walk the ball up the floor. 68-64. Two evenly matched teams on this Saturday afternoon, the first of our doubleheader. Skip pass, Tatum decides to pass up the look from 3. Bradford in the corner. The game leader right now, spins, baseline, the shot over Hayward, bounces around a couple of times and falls to the floor. Barta, baseline. Washington gambled, didn't get to it, and Brigitte Barta now has 18 as she gets an easy 2 there. Washington gambled. There was nobody on the help side to help out, and that's 18 for the freshman from Hungary, and Armstrong takes a timeout. 4:33 left on the clock now. 68-66. The way this one has gone, you didn't expect it to be a blowout, one side or the other. CSU has led by as much as 8. Armstrong's led by as much as 7. These two sides have gone back and forth. CSU has led, though, for the majority of the ball game. Armstrong took the lead over late in the first half, stretched it out to 7, and the Lady Cougars used a 9-0 run to close out the first half to lead by 2. And then they've led for the duration of this half with the exception of being tied 3 times. It's a 2-point game right now with 4:30 to play, 68-66. Both teams 9-4 and 4-3 in conference play. The kick out finds Smith in the corner, but guarded by Hayward. Alexander open at the free throw line, missed it way left. It wasn't close, out of her hands. Again, a chance to tie or lead. Now at the 4-minute mark. Coney double teamed, and Fala Bullock gets a timeout call before Coney turns it over on the sideline. 4 minutes showing on the clock. 68-66. After today, the Lady Cougars will take on Flagler College. We have a rare weekday afternoon double dip for you coming up on Monday here from the Lumpkin Center. Of course, we'll be observing Martin Luther King Jr. Day, the national holiday across the country. And we'll do so with 1:30 and 3:30 basketball inside the Lumpkin Center. The Saints coming in here from St. Augustine. They're in Americas today, taking on Georgia Southwestern, and then we'll see them for the first and only time in the regular season on Monday at 1:30 and 3:30. Of course, those games will be right here for you on Cougar Sports TV. We'll take the air a little after 1:15 with your pregame show, your pregame talk from Jonathan Norton, and we'll kick things off on a Monday afternoon. Men's game coming up 25 minutes after this one ends. We'll go off the air after the postgame show. We'll talk with Jonathan Norton and a Lady Cougar possibly, and then we will head off the air, take a quick break, reset things. We'll come back with the men's half of the doubleheader. We'll hear from Robert Moore as his team needing to hold serve this weekend in both games. Armstrong and Flagler, their two opponents this weekend as well. 4 minutes to go, Armstrong basketball, 17 on the shot clock. Pirates trailing 68-66. Brianna Davis just into the game off the inbound, missed the three, and it's Carrie Washington grabbing her 14th rebound of the game. Alexander leading it the other way, and she's fouled in the center of the lane as Davis caught her in the middle of the paint. For Davis, that's her second, but as we've already established, well into the double bonus, so Aisha Alexander will have two from the line. Alexander 1 for 2 from the stripe so far, has 5 points, and CSU's woes continue. 9 for 18. CSU leaving a lot of points at this foul line. Alexander's second one rattles in. .345 to go. 3-point game, still one possession. Armstrong has yet to hit a three in this half, though. Hayward, the kick out, got through Barta into the hands of Wells, who powers to the rim. The shot wasn't there. There's only been 1 3 made in this half after 11 made in the first. And now Brittany Tatum headed to the foul line as Davis calling for the foul again. For Davis, that's her third. And Brittany Tatum will step to the line where she struggled mightily. She's 2 of 7 from the free throw line so far. Tatum with his second one has a chance to put herself in double figures and back to a 5-point game. Second one falls off. Stay at 50% for the Lady Cougars. The shot wasn't there for Davis. Loose ball on the floor. Tie up. The arrow in favor of Armstrong. So they'll have it with 3:15 to go in a 4-point game. Fresh 30 after the miss hit the rim. So Armstrong can slow it up and reset. Trailing by 4 as we close in on 3 minutes to go. CSU trying to end Armstrong's 3-game winning streak. Coney, shot clock at 12. This is Davis who kicks it out. Hayward drives inside the foul line. Washington blocked the shot. Bradford on a run out now. It's a 4-on-2. Shatil will go all by herself, too strong. Washington there for the rebound and follow. Carrie Washington adds to her double-double day, and it's a 6-point game. That's 12 and 15 now for Carey, and a foul away from the ball going against Shatil Bradford underneath, and that'll be her 4th. So Bradford and Washington each with 4. Bogner on the opposite side has 4 for Armstrong, and it'll be Brigitte Barta for the foul line at 2 shots. Barta watches that one roll out. Armstrong has not missed free throws in this game. That has been their best point. They are 13 of 15 now. had not missed one in the second half before Barda's miss. The second one's good to give her 19. That is a new career high for her. Over the top, through the press, Tay Smith makes the catch and missed the easy lay-in. Had it wide open, and then Bradford wrestles it back away from Carlson, and then Bradford's shot blocked into a jump ball. The possession arrow this time CSU's way. So Tay Smith had the wide open lane, missed the shot, but Bradford on the loose ball, fought for it, tied it up, and gives CSU a possession back with 2:28 to go, leading by 5, 72-67. Smith will try a three from outside, and Tay Smith with a big one, and Jonathan Norton coming out of his suit to call timeout after the made basket. Tay Smith, give her credit. Jonathan Norton told her at halftime, hey, 23, keep firing. And it's not been a pretty day for her from the field, but it hasn't mattered. She kept firing, hit a big one there, and that stretches it out to tie the largest margin of this game for CSU at 8, 75-67, as CSU takes the timeout to set things up for the final 2:21. Tay now into double figures, will join the crew at that point. She becomes the fourth Lady Cougars to hit that mark. Dee DeShazer had 12, all in the first half. Bradford has 26, Washington with 12, and Brittany Tatum, if she could score another point, she would become the fifth Lady Cougar to reach the double-digit point. Bogner back to the floor for Armstrong as Barda sits down. CSU up by 8 with 2:20 to go. CSU is not led by more than 8, but it's the third time in this game they've hit this mark. Over the top, they try to get it to Bogner, who has to save it after the pass was too strong. Bogner gets it back, the kick out. Davis wide open, matches the three on the other end. The first time Armstrong has knocked one down from outside in this half, and it's the third of the game for Davis to pull them back within 5, 75-70. 1:45 to go. Much needed bucket that time for Armstrong. Bradford matched up on Wells, spins left too strong. Backside, Alexander's follow is good. Again on the offensive glass for CSU, it's 11 second chance points for them. And Tay Smith committing the foul beyond the three-point line with 1:23 to go. It'll send Stephanie Coney to the line for 2. The foul on Smith is her second. So Coney to the line, played such a huge role in this game in the first half, has not scored, though, in the second. Richards in, Washington out. So it'll be Tatum, Smith, Richards, Alexander, and Bradford on the floor. It's Coney along with Davis, Wells, Carlson, and Bogner for Armstrong as Coney split the pair. The rebound loose on the floor again. Another jump ball, and that possession arrow this time favors Armstrong. So CSU now will sub Washington back in for Richards as they're going offense for defense at the moment. 6-point game, 1:20 to go. Armstrong with the basketball. And a bad inbounds pass right into the hands of Tay Smith. Carlson, though, takes it away after a bad pass on the other side. Around Bradford, the shot wasn't there. Offensive rebound for Davis. 65 seconds to go, though, and Alexander just about comes away with a steal. So both sides getting sloppy with their passing in the final stages of this one. 1:03 to go, 6-point game, still Armstrong basketball, 14 on the shot clock. They need a bucket on this possession. Carlson, the leading scorer for the team, going for 3, and she buried it. Carlson from downtown cuts the lead in half. It's a 3-point game. No need to foul now if you're Armstrong. It's down to 3. 51 seconds to go, The fans from behind just about to jump on the floor. The foul was called against Maury Wells. It's her first. And it'll send Chantel Bradford to the free throw line where she will have 2. 77-74. This would make it a 2-possession game. Chantel now with 27 points to go along with 8 rebounds. Bradford got the friendly roll in the second. Give her 28. 45 seconds to go. 5-point game. You got to guard beyond the arc. Davis and Carlson have been the best shooters from downtown. Davis will go all the way to the rim this time. She doesn't get the shot. Bogner's follow goes down. Bogner with a big offensive rebound and stick back. CSU with it now. Armstrong has to foul. There's a 1-second differential. And Jonathan Norton will get a timeout call with 23 seconds to go. Shot clock is 1 second less than the game clock here. And in a 3-point game, Armstrong will have to foul. You would imagine, though, they'll play defense for maybe 3 or 4 seconds, see if they can force a steal. CSU has not been sound with the basketball, and they've not been great with passing. So you'll gamble for a few seconds to see if they can get the ball in bounds and then maybe get one pass. Then you commit the foul where CSU has not been good from the foul line. It's been a struggle for the Lady Cougars from that spot in this game. They're 13 of 22, 59%, and that's not far off from the usual. They're 62% as a team, so it's not as if they're having a horrible day compared to the usual. Kayla Richards on the floor in place of Carrie Washington, trying to put a better free throw shooter out there. 23.5 seconds to go. You got to get it inbounds first, and you have to hang on to it. The foul will be coming. You don't have to take a shot. I'm not quite sure why Armstrong's choosing not to commit the foul, but they get a steal out of it anyway. Coney gets the steal on a lazy pass. It's a 1-point game. So Coney got another steal and another lay-in. It's a 1-point game, 14 seconds to go. Now they'll have to foul. They choose not to, though. It gets into the hands of Tatum. Still no foul, down to 7 seconds to go. Nearly another turnover, into the backcourt they do. Last second, the horn will sound, the shot not there, and Armstrong will fall by 1. Somehow, CSU wins it 79-78. Unusual final sequence there for Armstrong. They choose not to foul down the stretch, gamble, get the steal, and then choose not to foul again in the final seconds. Got another steal, and as the horn was going to sound, it was Brianna Davis that had a shot from right in front of the basket to lay it in to win this ball game. And it was just off the mark, a little too strong. An unbelievable way for this one to finish, 79-78. CSU hangs on and picks up the victory over Armstrong to pick up their 10th win of the season to get to 10-4 and 5-3 in Peach Belt Conference play. It's the senior Tay Smith that will sit down with us. You look exhausted. Quite a way for that one to end.
I am. I'm really mad at myself, those last turnovers that could have cost us the game.
You look at it the way those last possessions go. Do you go into it expecting them to foul and it throws you off a little bit when they choose not to?
Yeah, a little bit. That defense, they was sitting back, so I thought that I could just make the easy pass, but, you know, they want it just like we do.
You look at this game, it went back and forth. You all led for most of it, but they never went away. It seemed like they were just that pest that wouldn't die.
Yeah, Coach told us at halftime he never seen a team that was more competitive than us. So, you know, that was the big thing about it. They at the beginning they wanted it more than us.
On a day in which the shots weren't necessarily falling for you, I heard Coach Norton coming out of the locker room. He said, "Keep firing," and it came down the stretch, and you hit a big one. How much confidence is that to hear him say that to you on a day in which it's not there?
I'm glad that I do got a coach that's confident in me, because if he wasn't, you know, I'd be out of it. But I'm glad that I stuck with it and kept firing the shot.
Exhausting ball game, and you have to turn around and play 2 days from now. What are the biggest things you all have to do between now and Monday before Flagler gets here?
Well, it looks like we got to work on learning how to pass the ball all over again. But we just got to keep going hard at it, that's all.
Hey, a win is a win. You get your 10th of the season. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Senior Tay Smith wrapping things up with us here. They somehow escape out of this one, and I'm very curious to hear what Jonathan Norton has to say when this one's done. I can't imagine he's going to be too thrilled with how things went down the stretch, but hey, a win is a win is a win is a win, regardless of the way you get it. Your final scoring tallies before Jonathan Norton gets down here. 4 players in double figures on both sides. 19 for Brigida Barta to lead the way for Armstrong. 17 for Brianna Davis, but she needed 19 for the win. She had the shot and did not get it to go down. 16 for Tyler Carlson. 14 for Stephanie Coney. On the other side for CSU, 6 players do all of the scoring. This is a very unusual stat line for the Lady Cougars, as they did not get much help today off the bench. 28 points for Shatil Bradford, who had a phenomenal game to go along with 8 rebounds. 12 points, 15 rebounds for Carrie Washington, a double-double. 12 points for Dee Dee DeShazer, all in the first half on 4 3-pointers. 10 for Tay Smith, who was just 3 of 11 from the field but hit a big 3 down the stretch. And 9 for Brittany Tatum, who had 7 turnovers today. That's generally the number that leads to a CSU loss, but she hit some big free throws and ran the team down the stretch to a victory, 79-78. 8 points and 11 rebounds for Aisha Alexander, who also struggled from the field, just 3 of 12 for the senior. 43% for the field for CSU, 8 for 14 from beyond the perimeter, 13 of 22, though, from the foul line. And if CSU would have lost this game, you would have looked at turnovers, in which they had 22 of them, and you would have looked at foul shots, in which they struggled from there. 38% for Armstrong and 7 of 24 from downtown. Lady Cougar head coach Jonathan Norton with us now. Coach, final sequence there. Have you ever watched a coach choose not to foul and play it out like that?
Well, she was yelling foul.
Oh,
we
okay.
knew she was fouling. Her players didn't just as I was frustrated with mine, not doing all the things we want them to do. They were just trying to guard hard and turn us over, which they did.
And it worked.
But she was yelling foul. And I'm not so sure they didn't a couple of times, but as the game went for about 30 minutes, they weren't calling them very much. So frustrated with how we performed, turning the ball over again, but we found a way to win.
You look at it, Shatil Bradford standing right behind us. A great ball game for her. Really going back to how she played at the very beginning of the season. Explosive scoring, helping carry the load for a little bit today.
Yeah, I mean, Shaw was focused, and I'm going to hug her neck when I get up from here, even though she's a sweaty thing. But she was ready to play, and she carried us. I mean, if we didn't have her, we would have got beat 30. So proud for her, senior. But, I mean, she's been bringing it every game. Teams have been game planning to double team her and different things, and they took her one-on-one, and she took advantage of it.
How about the way the game changed and the fact that there were about 7 fouls called in the first half, and I think we may have set a record here in the second half.
Yeah, but the second half is how the game's supposed to be called, Stephen.
Right.
And it's been frustrating. I had a nice conversation with each of the officials in the first half, and we have new rules in college basketball, and it is, for some reason, since conference play has started, they are not calling them consistently, and we've written them up. We've asked, and I pleaded with them in the first half, and then in the second half, they flipped the switch. Well, that's fine and good, but we have to have 40 minutes of consistent officiating, and we're not getting it right now.
That makes it tough on the girls to figure out which way they can play.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you're going to let us tackle each other, or do we have to get our hands off? Getting our hands off is the way basketball's supposed to be played, and maybe that will be a trend, from this second half on. But we're going to see new officials on Monday, and who knows what you'll get.
Quick turnaround for Monday when Flagler comes in here. How do you game plan for them on one day?
We got to give our girls some rest. Our starters had to play a ton of minutes, and so we got to get them physically able. We'll show them film, and we'll execute. We'll work on the things we need to work on. We got to get ready for a couple of different zones. We got to get ready for a quick point guard that can go for about 30 anytime she wants. So we've got our work cut out for us. But I think our girls will respond. I think they'll agree that we probably didn't play our best game, and so we got to get better.
Well, Coach, a win is a win, no matter how ugly. You get it today. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Head coach Jonathan Norton, as we help wrap things up here from the Lumpkin Center. the other seniors. Shatil Bradford, who had 28 points today, with us now. Take us through that final sequence there. You know, they're trying to get the fouls. You're expecting them to get the fouls, and it seems like the refs won't call it, and it almost turned into costing the ball game.
Oh, yeah. Fouls were a big thing coming in the second half. I think with like 10 minutes left, we were already in double bonus, both teams. So, I mean, I think we won that on the hair of our chin at the end there. I was expecting a call because they were calling everything late. So I'm just glad Aisha played some great defense and she missed the shot.
28 points for you today. What was it about the way they were playing you that allowed you to have more openings today than previously?
Well, Coach told me that all the post players are slow on their feet. They're bigger than me. So the biggest thing was one dribble pull-up or take it all the way to the basket. I'm going to have the first step. So that's what I did. I took it to the basket every time.
This team has been so good in close games this season. What is it about this team that makes you all good down the stretch when it's close?
Well, about our team, I think the fight is still there. We never lose fight, even if the game's close. If we're up 7, up 6, we still have the fight. We're like, okay, let's take the ball. Let's try to execute plays, do what Coach asks. And I think hitting clutch free throws down the line, that's a big thing for us too. That's what's been helping us.
Well, good game for you today, another victory, and you have to come right back on Monday. Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Shatil Bradford with us as we wrap things up for the opening game of our doubleheader here on Cougar Sports TV. The Lady Cougars hang on in the end, 79-78. They pull out the victory. They improve to 10-4 and 5-3 in the Peach Belt Conference. Armstrong drops to 9-5 and 4-4 in Peach Belt Conference play. We've got a second game to come up here on this floor inside the Lumpkin Center. The men's half of the doubleheader about 18 minutes away from now. We'll leave the air. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll reset. We'll hear from Cougar head coach Robert Moore, and we'll have your tip-off from the Lumpkin Center. Your final in Game 1. Lady Cougars win it over Armstrong, 79-78.